So one of my good friend Cloyd, who we had a long text battle because I had low battery yesterday. So we had a long text of exchanging our knowledge, ideas, prediction on the current news of the tariff of America placing tariff high tax steel and aluminium on a lot of companies, and as well asking 60 billion from China. We have a long discussion, me and my mate. We have a long discussion, which I see in a very different way. But I'm not sure where Trump is heading this whole game. I believe Trump is going to head what UK did back in the days, right? UK gave all the formula, the industrial work towards the India. India used to be a superpower like China, what it is today. The UK realized it's actually damaging the country, as there's no jobs, there's unemployment rate, and as well the strong influence of the poor law. So when I look at it, I'm like, wow, this is incredible crazy just to know this part. But at the same time, I'm looking at it, I'm like, maybe Trump will repeat what UK did back in the days. So the UK is like, they're fed up. They bring back jobs back to UK and slap a huge tariff around the European countries and around the world, which making UK to build a stronger economy and as well a manufacture superpower, and that's how they're one of the most powerful ones during the industrialization, as they're the ones who invented the industrialization. But I'm pretty sure I don't know how many years down the track, they realize it's polluting the country, too much coal, and they shift the job to the third world countries. And I think that's how the Chinese and India and Vietnam, it's mainly China, is going really crazy about these jobs. And I said to my mate about Trump, high possibility will repeat what the UK did back in the day. As the current news right now saying there's going to be a huge trade war if America do rise, as his slogan says, make America great again, and try to compete with China, as China is securing one by one. One belt, one Silk Road of trade around the world. China is already securing one by one, building high infrastructure, and it's all about trade. Now, I have different, talks about this, not only just my friend. I've spoken to 3 people regards to this topic, and I wanted to know more about it because as I'm living in Australia, Australia is a lot easy influence what America does or the UK does, alright? My biggest fear of looking at the whole thing is just that Australia may one day will do the same thing. And I start to say to myself, if Australia, I'm just saying predictionally, right? If America does very successful, then maybe Australia's like, you know what, maybe we should follow what America do. We build a stronger economy and we go, maybe we have a trade, have a competition towards China. I start to say to myself, well, I need to look at this very carefully. Maybe there's a slight chance, because there's no point for me continue studying my degree, because social work is pretty much helping those who help in need, unemployment, disability, mental health, and the rest. Where if you enter the workforce, most people will have work, and you have work, you have physical needs, housing, you got food, water, materialistic stuff, It solves a lot of social problem. Um, the Western world might waken up and say, you know what, we're sick and tired. The welfare is not helping the society, as the welfare is keep increasing, as their own country has not much jobs besides having service industry jobs. But maybe we should follow America. America is like, it's all round. It has industrialization jobs, as one of the main reason why China is still up and hold the powerhouse is because they blended with technologic and as well industrialization, to become what China is today, this powerful. Many of the Western world has dropped the industrialization. Actually, all of them should try to be the first world nation to look after the environment, to solve poverty and help poverty, and by accepting refugees and skilled migrants who benefit their country, to run the country, and as well refugees to solve the poverty and war, more of the human rights. Well, I've spoken to a couple of my two of the friends, and they're talking about, like, one of them talking about this may be created as a trade war. America sacrificed huge enough to elect Donald Trump, to not lose their power, but go could be competitive towards China. As America right now, you hear some news about the tariff, adding tariff, slapping tariff on upon European cars, as Europeans slapping huge tariff tax upon American cars. And I have different perspective. One of my friend has the perspective of saying they want the Europe to join with America to compete with China instead of losing the power towards China. If America elect another, if America did not have Trump and remained the way it is, China will run the whole thing, and China will become a superpower and running the whole thing. Whether it's a good thing or bad thing, there's good and bad, but at the end of the day, as long as there's a lot more peace and everything going on. But because American currently right now, and Europe still holds the strong power, if they allow China to do this, then of course China will dominate the entire market. That's why America is slapping a 60 billion bill on China, because stealing innovation without permission and not sharing and things like that. So my whole view about the whole thing is that, sorry, I'm closing my eyes so I can remember the whole thing, because I've made 2 videos previous to this exact same video. Is the whole thing, I think, what that friend's been telling me, allowing the Europe to join in to be a powerhouse, to make the country great again, instead of being service in welfare country, which the many Western world has many regrets, as they saw how powerful China is, where China doesn't have environmental laws strong like what the Western is, but they still have, but not as strong. China at the same time, America just dumped the Paris climate change. UK just Brexit out. Maybe next one, maybe a strong one, maybe the UK will join in the wagon, to see that industrialization with bringing back to their country will benefit a lot more, instead of having welfare. As welfare right now is on the rise, and as well, more and more people are struggle to find jobs, and which I'm currently studying the poor law of 1601 and 18, and the new poor law. It made me realize it's not working out. Unemployment rate, there's no jobs, as government's creating fake jobs by adding incentive towards employers to hire them, or perhaps encourage employers to, instead of hiring permanent staff, how about just hire casual staff or just part-time staff, to add more numbers to make the unemployment rate lower. Instead of having one full timer, why don't you have two, three part timers? Um, so there's no job creation. It's just creating fake numbers, as through governments introducing incentive. If if Donald Trump do succeed with the power, and as well as going through this change successfully, I know America is really behind in this area because of, I don't know how many decades, but there's been generations of homelessness and poverty, as it's not a welfare state of America. It's hard for them to bounce back as competing with a third world country. But what I could tell you is that still, I know less and less people are fed up with China made product as they come as unreliable. That is due to the fact that it's up to uh, the buyer who wants to make this product in this certain price margin, and China will do it. Will able to make anything to fit the the buyer's needs, and that's why, you know, it's all about profit. It's all about capitalism. So it's all about slavery. You know, you're using third world countries to make all these goods and blah 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 blah. All right, so I believe there will be a strong demand in the future if America stuff as expensive. I even know people will tend to buy America stuff. Even if they're willing to pay extra price to have a strong, good quality of the goods that last. Not just what people say, you know, China stuff doesn't last long. You know, other countries, they stuff lasts long. So you're buying for the quality, not the quantity. So in the future, I know the fact that China do love foreign products a lot, comparison to their local brands. So my thought on that is there is a market in the future, but that's a huge, big risk for Donald Trump to do that. But at the same time, you know, the previous government didn't do much regards on bringing jobs or bringing the superpower or everything like that. But at the same time, it's just the fact that you know, they elected him because they wanted to build the the power of America. Now, as I mentioned before, the Europe may not like the whole idea what America is doing, but America is wanting to open their hands, first allies to Europe, to buy their product or making Europe better again by introducing industrial jobs. Now, as I said before, Europe is very, very strong advocate with the Paris climate change. The Paris climate change is a thing that will stop them to build stronger. And as a country is a welfare service country, they will buy any cheap goods to sustain the people and everything. And China will be on the market to advocate for them. But however, if the Western world realize, you know, relying on Chinese stuff in the long run, as I said, I don't know if I've told you before, but you know, welfare is like the tax of the country. Quarter income tax goes towards the welfare state. Now, welfare is keep going to increase. It's not going to decrease. The government will implementing laws that influence of the poor law to make it difficult, make the citizens to give them a little as much welfare money towards them, and force them not to be on a welfare, force them to find a job. But if there's no jobs, only service industry and skilled migrants taking over their jobs, or just what's there for them, that's created a huge problem. And this is why the Western world really admire what China's doing, because China, no matter, it's not even a welfare state, but China is like very independent, where they have responsibility for the people who have very very strong family ties, and as well 3 generations living in the household, where Europe and Western world is more for individualism, as you can say, lifestyle, as many of them who try not to, even if they want to work, but they try not as hard in comparison to third world countries who people who works even harder to provide food for not just one family but 3 families. When I talk about 3 families, I talk about, or maybe more than 3 families. I'm just saying, in my situation, if I'm in that situation, let's say I feed my own family, me and my missus and my kid, and as well I have to feed my missus parents' needs, and as well I have to feed my own parents' needs. And it can be a lot more. I could add even for family. Maybe you have brothers and siblings, or as well maybe she has brothers, siblings, or uncles and aunties that you have to feed. So one person feeding many people is a lot. So that's why a lot of third world countries people tend to work harder, because there's a reason, there's a meaning behind to keep this tribe alive. So I've been having these long discussions because I might fear that if America do succeed, most of the Western world will be like, you know what, maybe we should go to our old roots. This new route that we been doing is just increasing more tax towards welfare, and there's not job creation. We're creating too much fake jobs, and politicians will do anything just to win over people's voting through fake votes. Why are we too focused on these carbon emission, where we cannot even put food on the table, or there's no job? It doesn't. It's not realism. It doesn't work out. It may turn their backs around on this Paris climate change and adopt what America did, because that's the long run. Maybe I'm wrong in the future. Maybe things will go differently, heading the way. But at the same time, looking at it, I'm having this long discussion. All right, one of them is Cloyd, and I just gone through the message. It's like, hold on, I just gotta pop out. He's finding it. America is just what it's doing is stupid. It's not only just harming themselves, but they're harming the whole world. But also, it's just just hurting both sides' benefits, and it's just America's gonna lose for sure in this area, because of the amount of generations are not out of workforce and industrialized, where the third world countries has been a lot more advanced in this area. So he has a good point. He's saying that it's stupid for Americans to do that. They'll lose the battle for sure. All I'm saying is that it is a huge, big risk, because if Trump didn't do that, eventually they know they lost everything. So this is the last hope for them to stand up, to fight for that position of the power. As right now, China is still slowly entering the petroleum market, but also as well, it's just a huge risk for Americans to do that. If it runs successfully, then the Western world will, whether they go to that side or the China side, that's where the news media is coming about trade war. It's either you lose your power and the money, where China is just gaining money. And it's just, there's no way to compete. But what the slogan Trump was doing is making it, building back that strong values of power structure back again in the country. So it's very interesting to see this whole thing where it ties. as well with the recent media. Who knows how it goes? The world has gone through different stages. They haven't gone through this welfare stage for this long, where in the past the UK has shown that they closed their doors in the past and manufacture and build everything, and towards the end they realize it's polluted their country, and they stopped it. It's just there's so much going on. Don't know where is this gonna go to. It's a very huge risk for him to do this, but at the same time, it's just to save the superpower or as well everything. And also, I mentioned to one of my friends about, if the Europe doesn't want to join, another option is if the Europe doesn't want to join and everything, Trump can even slap them on the face. It's like, okay, if you don't want to join me, why the hell would I need to save you or protect you where you lean towards China and perhaps just Russia? What we're going to do, we just get rid of the missile shield out of your country, and you'll be no longer part of the US allied or US or NATO protection. You're on your own, whether you go be their side or everything. So that could happen. That could trigger them to force them into be part of America, ally, follow their listen and command and everything. Another one is I said to my other friend is that if they do, you never know. America is a democrat society. Each time the government is elected, they have different vision. I'm not sure how the next president after Donald Trump, maybe serve 1 term or 2 term, who knows. China just announced their president is having unlimited terms, so they have one straight vision and they drive towards. I'm not sure how America is going to go, because America's Democrat and government change up and down, and probably just whoever's getting elected next may keep his values or maybe destroy his values, but it's up to the power of the elite what they want for America. There's a lot of prediction. Yesterday we had a long discussion about this topic, very very long. It's just that for me, why is it really important, and I said it in the beginning of the video, is that if this is happened based on my theory and what I just mentioned to you guys, there won't be much job in my sector, social work. There won't be much, because I think people will kind of drop their human rights to a certain limitation. As I spoke to my teacher, as teacher told me about, especially the undergraduate degree that I'm studying in this university is strongly viewed as a critical and radical social work lens, which is more towards on how the system marginalize these certain minority marginalized group, and we should advocate for policy change or policy social justice for the client. So if you have that, and my teacher's been telling me, don't think you're going to change the world, because they won't want you to change the world, because first off, all the organisation funding is coming from the government, and you have to pay for the government. If you go against the government system of vision, then what happens next is that they'll cut your funding, and many organisations won't allow you to implement this sort of stuff. Instead, they want you to sit with the client and solve their problem based on whatever's around, even if it's hard. But what is the difficult part about this whole thing is, as my industry is a business model, it's all about KPIs, it's all about annual report. It has to be better than previous year, better and better and better and better and better and better and better. how do you make it better if you can't even solve the system? So you have to force yourself. It's pretty much, it's like doing a sales job. You just give them something, quick band-aid, and you only spend, I don't know, 1 hour or 40 minutes with each client, and most of your time is 60%. Like I knew about this 2 years ago, and I know about it. 60 or 70% is all case study or case note written work. 30 or 40% is more most likely to be visiting the client. So I'm just saying to myself, if people start to realize this realism, as people so called the right wing is on the rise, especially with the Italy, the 5 star, what's happening, they want a referendum, they wanted to get rid of, they don't like this whole concept. There's got to be a very interesting path in the future. I may not have any jobs out of this degree. I only did this course because of the current situation, unemployment rate as well, being a service country, not having, jobs and everything. That's the reason why I did this job. So it's incredible that we exchange a lot of ideas of 3 of my friends, and it's just such incredible the conversation that we talk about, because we are not trying to be biased one side, left or right. We try to talk about what will actually happen. Some people say this is completely stupid, it's just hurting China even more, or hurting America even more. The others talk about, I'm not interested in that sort of topic, because it is what it is. It's already happened in the Europe, UK in the past. They already created a lot of hate, but look what Europe, English did. They became a powerhouse, but that was back then. Now it's a different story. Now we have technology. Now we have 3D printers. Now we have AI can do everything. Is there a need for human to work in that sort of industry? See, that's another question. There's a lot of prediction on this topic, but what I see the future is always will be technology, as far as I know right now. And as I watch a lot of those time travelers videos, it gives you, whether I believe it or not, or whether you believe it or not, it does seems right, because if technology advancements to that stage, anything could happen. Technology to even hear this conversation, to look for this video without me even upload on YouTube. So those are the stuff that's been on my mind for a long time, like for lately, and I just wanted to let it out, break it down. My channel is all about just understanding or make prediction, or perhaps false prediction, or my opinion, to understand the whole thing. I'm sick and tired about not to express or freedom of thoughts of understand. It's great. I know I'm not going to get any viewers for this video, but hey, at least I break it down to you guys. If you lasted all the way to now, congratulations. I never thought anyone would ever watch this video, but yeah.